So that's what I meant when I said they CGI'd, because the Eiffel Tower is here, we can see it, but it's way further, it's not that big. Make sure you watch till the end, because we might have debunked some fake images in the show, and I also bring you to new spots where they filmed the show. Hi guys, salut tout le monde.
Salut.
I'm Maïa and I'm French.
I'm Charlie, I'm American, and we live in Paris.
Yeah, and a lot of you guys have really enjoyed the episode we did on Emily in Paris, so we're going to watch more episodes.
Mon nom est Marc.
I cannot speak French.
Je ne parle pas français.
It's funny how, sorry, I'm stopping so early in the show, but it's funny how these apps, some of the first things they teach you is to say, I don't speak French, but some of the first things you teach your students is how to say like, oh, can you repeat? Or what does this mean? Like to be really proactive in the French learning process. I don't know why it just hit me when I heard that. I mean, it's good to know how to say that, but I think it's even more important to know how to say, oh, qu'est-ce que ça veut dire? Ou ça veut dire quoi? Or comment dire?
Also, it's interesting because she said, je ne parle pas. Like, she said it like that, and most people aren't going to say, like, je ne. They're going to say either je ne parle pas, like, if you really want to get that ne, or just je parle pas. So I keep having French students who always say, like, oh, je ne comprends pas. And it's like, you don't say it like that. It's like, je ne. Je ne comprends pas. It's kind of like to stress more, like, oh, mais je ne comprends pas. Like, kind of, but in general, like 99% of the time you're playing.
Yeah, if you don't want to drop the ne because it's too informal for you, fine, but then say je ne comprends pas, like you're saying.
Well, actually, I really like this park too, Jardin du Luxembourg.
Jardin du Luxembourg, yeah.
So it's funny because they have these palm trees during the summer, and they're like in a pot, like a giant pot, and so they bring them from somewhere else. I don't know, because it's too cold for palm trees in Paris. But yeah, I know they have greenhouses somewhere that they keep them.
Could you please say that again?
S'il vous plaît, pourriez-vous répéter?
Please slow down a little bit.
Veuillez ralentir.
Okay, that's so wrong. Veuillez ralentir. That's not something you say when speaking. That's something you say for
like for a car, right?
Yeah, that's absolutely wrong.
Yeah,
that's sad. What did they say in English? Like,
can you slow down?
Can you slow down? Vous pouvez parler plus lentement. Oh, I guess the subtitles corrected it. Or the next sentence is... Wait, let's listen to it.
Veuillez parler un peu plus lentement.
Yeah, that's better. Veuillez ralentir is totally wrong. You don't say that about speech.
Veuillez is like kind of...
Veuillez
it's super formal.
Yeah, it's like... In French, there are different, I guess, steps of being polite. You have like being, of course, slang, informal. Then you have standard... being polite, informal, and then you have like super formal.
This is just
really
too
literary. Much. Veuillez is it's too much.
It's like you would see that on a sign, like on a sign somewhere, or like a legal document or something. Like.
I guess you would say, est-ce que vous pouvez parler plus lentement? Or just, vous pouvez parler plus lentement, s'il vous plaît. They don't even add the s'il vous plaît in the sentence. We wouldn't recommend to say that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, Paris is like that.
Yep, that happens all the time. In front of the door, that's so mean. Like,
yeah, always watch where you walk in Paris. Like sometimes you'll see like there's just spots everywhere where someone stepped in it and they're trying to like wipe it off.
Paris is kind of dirty.
It's pretty dirty. I mean, a lot of big cities are.
This room kind of looks like the office. It's just white, not grey, but it says, on appelle ça les moulures. Les moulures, I don't know how you call that.
Molding?
Molding.
Especially this thing up here.
Yeah, it looks nice.
But I have some ideas about marketing de l'or that I would like to share with you.
De l'heure.
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 It's funny how a lot of things, you know, if you just say it a little bit differently, it sounds really different in French. The sound between like ou and like like what was she saying? Like more like an or kind of sound, de l'heure.
Yeah.
And then it's more like de l'heure.
De l'heure.
Which to a lot of English speakers, it sounds really similar. Or it's kind of like I have French students who say beaucoup instead of beaucoup.
Beaucoup. Yeah, merci beaucoup. They would say merci beaucoup.
Which is something else.
Yeah. To you guys, it can be so similar and you can be like, oh, get over it. It's practically the same sound, but it's not because it can be a totally different word.
Which is something that you have to spend a lot of time with the language to hear it and to be able to do it.
Listen, I don't agree with your approach. You want everything to be everywhere, accessible to everyone. You want to open doors. I want to close doors. We work with very exclusive brands. They require mystery, and you have no mystery. You're very, very obvious.
Maybe I am. But I do understand what it means to be on the outside looking in. I have a perspective that you will never understand because no, I'm not sophisticated or French, and I don't know how to look like you. That slouchy, sexy je ne sais quoi thing.
It's funny. I don't know if French people use the term je ne sais quoi as much as like foreigners do. I hear that all the time in shows or just online, but used by Anglophones. I feel like they're trying to make it French versus American, but I think it's more of a generational gap here because social media really changed a lot of things in fashion, like the catwalks and all that, the défilé. It was such an exclusive thing. It was something I used to dream about. It was like, oh my God, I dream of going to a catwalk and to a fashion show one day. But now you have them on Instagram Live, and it's not such a mysterious thing anymore.
So you want to go to this party?
Bien sûr.
Yeah, so it's...
C'est bien sûr.
Ouais, bien sûr. It was difficult to hear. Like, sûr, it sounds like sûr.
But I think it's for the comedic relief thing where everything she's going to say in French, she's always going to take this stance of like, bien sûr, très bien. Or it's like, no, it's more smaller and blunt and bien sûr.
At least she tries.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. So this spot is like really in the middle of Paris. Like Notre Dame is over there. And that building right there, that castle-looking thing, that's where Marie Antoinette, she was in prison right there.
Yeah, c'est la
For her
conciergerie.
Yeah. And there's also, over here, that's Hotel de Ville, like over there.
Hotel de Ville, ouais.
Yeah. So that's where the guillotine used to be in Paris. For me, like I have a bachelor's in French and Francophone studies, and I'm doing my master's right now. And I study at the Sorbonne, so I kind of know like a lot of random stuff about about Paris. Like over here is where they used to go on strike because they would bring materials to like work on stuff over here, like in front of like kind of by Hotel de Ville. Yeah, maybe you guys would want to see a walking tour of like a neighborhood sometime and like hear some random fun facts.
Bonsoir.
Earlier, and they did La Bise. That's totally fine because they were like at a party, so it's like more acceptable.
Right.
Whereas like before, the last episode they did it in the office, it was like I don't know, it's kind of weird. But
Yeah, that's true.
Antoine, of course, owns Maison Lavaux and is best known in France.
Well, it's very symmetrical.
Emilie, unfortunately, does not speak French.
let me just say that they're trying to play this off as like, oh, they're looking down on her because she's American. When in my experience, that's never been my experience. Everyone thought it was cool that I was from LA and that I lived in New York before. French people seem kind of obsessed with like Brooklyn and New York and Hollywood. So
usually it's totally the opposite. It's true. People would be like so interested in you and kind of obsessed, like, oh my God, you're from LA. Oh, that's really cool. Like they get immediate like interest in you.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know if that's the good thing either, but it's interesting.
Yeah, like I lived in Paris for 5 years. I've never had anyone talk down to me because I was American or anything like that. It was really quite the opposite.
Yeah. Just so you know, because actually not everyone knows that, but the Eiffel Tower lights up like that for a couple of minutes every hour. It's not like that all the time, all day long. So there's a thing called the Paris syndrome. Some Japanese people come here as tourists and they really have an idealized image of Paris, you know, like the macaron, Marie Antoinette, the Eiffel Tower always lit up. And some of them actually think that it's golden, that the color of the Eiffel Tower is gold. It's like super shiny and
like people have this really romanticized view or idea of Paris, and they come here and there's just a mess, it's dirty and stuff.
Some of them go back to Japan and have a really hard time, like they really get depressed. So that is the Paris syndrome.
You're not wearing the perfume.
Not yet, I'm sorry.
Try a little here.
A little, yeah.
And right here. Suits you. Makes you feel more confident, sexier, happier. And of course, with the right chemistry, it can be an aphrodisiac.
I will keep all of that in mind for our marketing materials.
I guess every man in this show is just flirting with her. Ouais, un gros pervers, en gros.
I would love the house on the account, but we discussed that Emily was going to work on Vagin.
What's Vagin?
It's called Vagin.
Yeah, but it's written Vagin, so it's kind of weird. I don't know. I think the subtitle is messed up. The sound changes depending on which vowels follows the G letter.
Yeah.
So it's A-O-U, it's gagogu, and if it's I-E-I-N-E, that's all, it's J et je.
Mouillé. Très bien, so you learned a new word.
It's interesting because you said learnt with a T at the end, which is like the UK.
Oh, she said that?
Yeah, that's how they say it in the UK, and like
Oh,
in America we say learned, like with a D, ED at the end.
Okay.
So yeah, that's another thing. A lot of people who speak English in France are really heavily influenced by like UK English.
Yeah. Sometimes I have some words that I say in a very British way because I still have some leftovers of what I've learned in school. Like I can't say a vacuum cleaner. I always forget that word and I always say a Hoover.
Oh yeah.
Things like that. Hi guys, we see actually that 89% of you guys are not subscribed. So if you enjoy what we do, please feel free to subscribe. We upload every week, so make sure you turn on the notification bell. Okay, let's go back to the video now.
Something you should know. Sylvie is Antoine's mistress.
You never flirt with another woman in front of your mistress. It's worse than doing it in front of your wife. They were in the same room, to be precise. Oh, then they probably know each other. I'm sure they're friends. Really? I bet she has a lover too.
All right. So it's not really like that.
No.
I mean, maybe some people do this. I don't know.
She knows that her husband has a mistress and she likes it and she probably has one too. I mean, that's not a cultural thing. That's not.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, all that.
Some couples maybe do that, but it's their personal life.
Like French people don't just sleep with everyone, and it's like, yeah, it's not like that, right? One thing that was really different for me when I came to France is like if you kiss someone, you guys are kind of together, like kind of. Like you can't, like in America, it's much easier to date around, and you could be like, oh, I never said we were together. Like
Yeah, that whole thing, like where you have to ask, are we together to make it official?
Yeah.
That thing doesn't really exist here.
Yeah, there are some exceptions, of course, but for example, if like an American woman or an American guy is kind of seeing two people at the same time and they kiss both of them, but they never, that would be really frowned upon. In France, even though they never said that, that was their partner, like they never made it official, like in France, yeah, it's you generally don't want to do that.
Actually, when you asked me, it was kind of funny to me. I was like, I don't know. I was joking around because I thought you were joking around. To me, it sounded like, how kids are like, oh, you want to be my girlfriend?
Oh, cute alert! How do you know about this place? I live right down there, and every time I pass by, it's packed. Oh, bon appetit!
Yeah, you'd say like bon appetit, or a lot of times we say bon up. And then usually it's bon, but because we're getting that liaison with that A, right, it's gonna be like bon up, like that.
Excuse me, pardon, monsieur? I ordered this medium, and it's still kind of bloody. Elle aimerait son steak mieux cuit, s'il vous plaît. Yeah, what she said.
If your steak isn't cooked as well as you like it, usually it's no problem. Like they'll take it back.
They'll never judge you for it.
Yeah, they're like, oh, yeah, no problem. Yeah, actually, we have a great video about that if you're looking to order meat in French.
Yeah.
We'll leave a link to that down in the description.
Chef tells me the steak is correct.
No.
No.
The client decides what he wants. That will never happen. I've in all types of restaurants my whole life, even like super fancy 3 stars Michelin, they will never say that ever. Like maybe inside they'll be like, oh, but it's so much better, but they're never gonna argue with the client.
Yeah.
You can even try and be like, oh, it's not cooked enough, and then he will still cook it more.
Yeah, you've sent a steak back before, haven't you?
Oh yeah, it happens to me, of course.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Eiffel Tower is not always going to be in the background everywhere in Paris. Actually,
It is right here though, because she's at Pantheon.
But it's not that close. It's not that close. It's not that close.
Yeah.
It's not that close.
We'll show some pictures.
Yeah, that's fake. I think that's fake. Panthéon. She's at the Panthéon. Oh yeah, you see, Panthéon is right here.
Yeah, and she lives over there.
She lives in this street behind.
Yeah.
And look, the Eiffel Tower is so far away. It's so much smaller.
Like,
and
go up, like she's up on the next block.
She's on that bus station right here. So maybe she's down there.
She's like right there.
Yeah, she's at that bus station, Panthéon, it says right here.
Yeah.
Right? Panthéon, you see here?
Somewhere around there.
So the Eiffel Tower is so much further away. So to me, that's fake. Here, look how big it is. But anyway, it's funny to see. She's right at the bus station. It's not that close.
Hey, you must...
Yeah, alone. Oh, you're working.
Well, our lunches are pretty extensive here. I mean, I could spend 3 hours with you in the Louvre in the afternoon and no one would miss me.
Absolutely not. No.
Wait,
you
is
can't do
this...
that.
I'm that way again and again. There's no time for giving up. Bonjour, Emily.
Bonjour.
Trying the other way again and again. There's no time.
It's funny, like, where their office is, because you would have something like that, like, okay, maybe people live over here in this part of the building, and like the next part are like offices, kind of like where Tanya lives, you know?
Yeah, in the same building, you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
It's true. Some floors can also be doctors. We have hospitals, but private
Doctors.
General practitioners or whatever, they actually sometimes have their cabinet in really old and cool buildings like that. It's really funny.
Yeah.
Good luck to translate that.
So, grève, this is a really good word to know in French. It means strike. And there are always strikes. Sometimes the metro workers will go on strike. That happened last year, right? They went on strike for like 3 months or something.
Yeah, but that's so rare that the metro closes.
Yeah. Or once the people who collected trash, they went on strike for like a week or two, and the whole city just smelled terrible. So faire la grève, to go on strike.
Yeah. And there should be an accent on grève.
Yeah.
They didn't write it.
J'ai un message du président de Bagageune. Brigitte Macron vient de poster sur son compte Twitter un truc sur le produit. Quoi? Et ça vient du compte Instagram d'Emily.
Oh, wow.
Hein? Brigitte Macron.
Brigitte Macron. Emily! Come join us! Come!
Now he's super happy.
Yeah.
Elle assure trop.
What? The boss would never say that. Elle assure trop. It's like really young people speech. It's kind of weird. Or he would say like, oh, elle a assuré, or mais elle assure trop.
Yeah, trop is like, when people, young people want to use that instead of très.
Yeah.
Like you say this a lot. You say, oh, j'aime trop. Like I love this too much, but it's like I like this a lot.
Yeah.
But older people generally don't speak like that.
Yeah. Yeah, today is such a beautiful day, but it's so windy. Okay, so I'll walk the whole way from Jardin du Luxembourg to Panthéon, then to her house, because it's really nearby. Okay, so I'm filming in the Jardin du Luxembourg and it's so awkward, there's way too many people. Anyway, I'll make it quick. I'm walking around and showing you the different places, and behind me is the Palais du Luxembourg that we see on the show, and it's also where the Sénat is. Let's talk about the mini boats behind her in the pond. Le Jardin du Luxembourg is well known for this grand bassin where kids play with those boats. You can rent them for half an hour or more, and the point is to push them with a stick and pretend like you're a captain on the sea. This is actually a really old tradition that goes back to the 1880s. Let's go on the other side of the pond now. Okay, found it. Let's move on to another location now. So this is the entrance of the garden, and then if you turn right here, this street behind the bikes over there, this street goes to Panthéon. So that's where we're going to go. Okay, down there is the Jardin du Luxembourg, and if we look very closely in the middle, you can see the Eiffel Tower. So that's what I meant when I said they CGI'd, because the Eiffel Tower is here, we can see it, but it's way further, it's not that big. Okay, so now I'm closer to the Panthéon, and the Panthéon is on a butte. A butte is a mount, so the more we go up, the more we can see the Eiffel Tower in the distance. So that's really cool.
Emily.
No, I'm done waiting. I gotta go.
Okay, so I'm now in front of the Panthéon where she has her breakup scene, right? And I'll show you how to get to her apartment because it's right next door. Okay, let's go. Okay, so I'm back at where she lives. Her building, her apartment is right behind me. And what's really cool is that actually the restaurant where her neighbor works is right behind me. It actually exists. Oh wow, I didn't even see that, but it's an Italian restaurant. That's really funny. And look at what's next to the restaurant. It's the boulangerie. That's where she goes. It's really cute. But the inside doesn't look like the one in the show. That's it. Thank you so much for watching. As you can see, those videos are getting really long. Tell us if you still enjoy them or if you'd prefer if they were shorter. Next, we're going to film a video on episode 3 of Emily in Paris, so make sure you leave your questions in the comments below. We might include some of them. Also, check out our reaction to the first episode of Emily in Paris up here, and underneath is a playlist of videos we've made commenting on French interviews with celebrities. A special thank you to our patrons. Your support really means a lot to us. Thank you so much. Okay, so that's it for now. See you next time. Bye bye.